there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits.
Ba-ba.
Coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Wah, wah.
Hey everyone, this is Liza.
No shit! Look, there you are.
Yeah, and I'm back. I feel like I've been gone so long.
It's getting harder to shake off the jet lag, though, isn't it?
just vintage days. Whew, but we'll get into that. I'm still catching up on the sleep. But let's get to, should I just say, everyone who's not here. Stumpy John isn't here. Jim isn't here. Scotty isn't here. Neil isn't here. Craigzilla isn't here. We could just keep going down the list.
No, nobody cares about these people.
That's right, because who I have is Miss Emma.
Hello, darlings.
And really, all you need is Miss Emma and a little bit of Bagel in your life, and that's all you need.
Is that like a Miss Emma spread smeared on a bagel?
Oh, I think I need to stop it now before it goes any further.
Yes, stop that bagel.
Just the Emma spread. That just was getting dangerously close to something.
Emma,
weird.
no, Emma gravy. It's got to be
I knew it.
nutritious
See?
and delicious.
There you
What?
go.
No.
Should we bottle that?
No. Yes.
Can we just go a step further and just make it the Emma gravy candle?
God.
Oh, we could do a whole line of the scents of Emma.
And then you could do like the whole joke of like, do you want that scented? No, I'll take it with me right now.
Can I ask you what the Emma's Greasy Knuckles candle would smell like?
Greasy knuckles.
Oh, yeah, that was easy.
Duh.
How about the Flaming Crotch candle?
That would smell like burning inner tubes. Bridgestone, if you please.
Oh.
No, I always hate it at work. You know, my favorite, Emma's got her favorites, and we all know. What sort of batteries does Emma like?
Yuasa
batteries. And
what kind of battery did I order today?
The cheapest of the cheap. I know you, Liza. And then, I've got, I love my Michelin tires. I love Motul 300V. And, yeah. So Emma's definitely got favorites in her life. And I've just completely lost my train of thought. Sorry. Suffered from a complete brain fart.
Emma, I will eventually get an apology out of you.
Oh, let's have a look. See what
I demand an apology this time.
What? You bought a Yuasa? I tell you what, that is a very good price for a white EZ.
I want my apology now.
Oh, you can have it. I am sorry for all the awful things I said about you to those sailors back in 2017.
No, it's just in my shopping cart, so I haven't bought it yet. It's a little premature, but I appreciate the advance apology.
Right, very good.
For thinking I am.
Oh, no. I remembered my train of thought. So my go-to inner tubes at the shop are Bridgestone inner tubes. I think they're the best. But, they are incredibly smelly. They've just got this nasty rubber smell, and when you handle them, your fingers smell of rubber for a long time.
Emma's tire changing candle.
Yeah, and they would just.
We need to come up with. I'm just going to say it right now. Hey, listeners, if you would like to email us with this Emma scent candle that you would like, send it to motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com.
Keep it clean, you
How about the gin and grease?
Gin and grease sounds good.
Might be something to this.
Yeah, I think so.
Bagel, you live in Oregon. You guys make candles all the time. What's it take to make a candle?
That is not an area of my expertise.
Well, I suggest you find out, Bagel.
Well, I could. I'm sure there's a workshop somewhere that I could sign up for.
I just assume when you move to Oregon, they give you the pamphlet on tofu and candle making.
Yeah.
Right. It's like one of the mandatory courses you have to take, to become a resident.
Yeah, to become a resident of Oregon. It's tofu, soy drink, and candle making. And Birkenstock wearing.
Well, that's only a very small portion of the state.
I don't believe you.
So I wanted to give a big thanks to all the stunt misfits that came out to Vintage Days.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all got to hear, but it was great. I had all sorts of stunt misfits show up, and I just said, go find a story. And they did. And it was awesome. And then I just kind of helped them kind of do a pre-interview and get the story out, do an intro. And they took the reins.
Ran with it.
I loved it.
I feel obsolete.
Well, you should worry about your job. Let me tell you.
Jesus.
They did a great job.
Well, fantastic. No, well done, everyone. Did. And it's funny because I was reviewing the pictures of Mid-Ohio, and I thought, oh, God.
Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, I thought that looks cold and miserable and wet. And it wasn't. It was hot and humid, wasn't it?
It was. It was the underboob sweat kind of humid.
Ooh.
Yeah, like parts of your body that normally don't sweat, they sweat.
Ooh.
But it's nice when it's kind of warm out, and then the rain would come, which was actually welcome because it would cool things down and make things more interesting.
Right.
So yeah.
If you hear a cat in the background, Liza's cat has just walked in, and she's being very vocal right now and yelling at the top.
You said that she was looking disheveled.
She does. She looks like shit. Look, she's got all caked blood over her nose.
It's dirt. She's a mole hunter.
Oh.
She sticks her head in holes. But yeah, VMD was great. I'm sure I said it last week, but just say again, Phil and his crew are the greatest hosts. It's so nice to just like fly there and get picked up at the airport.
Right.
Brought out there. Phil provides all the camping stuff.
It's fantastic.
He gets my bike that I bought from him prepped and ready to go. Like takes care of everything. He's a great host.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh,
and I wish I could have been there this year.
Yeah, you know what? This time it was even a little more social that I found.
Well, define that because Phil was posting that he seemed to enjoy it more than previous times as well.
I will say that in the past few years, I've noticed that there's been a bit of a divide at Vintage Days, much like there is in the political climate in this country. It just kind of mirrored that. But this time, none of that existed. And everyone was just there, and everyone was in a good mood. And I'd turn and talk to the guy in line to get a corn dog, or I'd turn and talk to somebody next to me watching the race. And, everybody was just very,
well, that's
we're
cool.
all, summer camp. It was summer camp, adult summer camp. We were all here together. Everyone had a great time. Past guest, Jeff Fredette.
Yes.
And his wife came by. He was there racing, Mr. ISDE. He came and hung out for a while. That was really cool. And just the camaraderie was really nice.
Oh, fantastic.
And just all the listeners of us and Cleveland Moto and Noco Moto and Moto Hop, because we were all together. And it was just really nice. It was just nice.
Now, I want to have a little chat because Noco Moto brought out a little thing.
Oh.
A little thing.
Yes.
That you
Bagel, I think I hinted to you about this.
Did you?
Yeah, this little thing.
Did I?
I
wrote a thing that's been on my list for a long time.
Oh, yes.
And it
Now I remember.
may have unleashed the beast of want.
Oh,
The beast of want.
You should get one.
They're hard to get, but I finally got to ride an Italjet dragster.
Nice.
Now,
an original dragster 180 two-stroke.
Yes. So this is not the new one that they haven't brought here yet, but that I love.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is, as you said, the 182 stroke, lime green.
Mm-hmm.
It is a stretched beast.
Mm-hmm. And it looked like that one had an expansion pipe on it. Is that
did
correct?
Indeed.
Well, that's crazy how, and I was like, wait, why does the exhaust do that? Because the exhaust it goes out past the rear wheel, turns around and comes back and is now facing like the back of your foot like a trumpet. And I think it was Phil explained to me because you have to have a certain amount of length in an exhaust
for it.
And if the engine's at the back, you can only go back so far before you got to double back and come the other way.
Right. When you want to tune the two-stroke to a very specific RPM range, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
So, and the tailpipe of an expansion chamber is called a stinger.
Ooh.
And the stinger has an amazing effect on the length of the stinger and the diameter of the stinger. And remember, just because I was looking at the picture, that had actually got a silencer over the stinger. But the length and diameter of the stinger, and it can be as small as an inch, has a huge effect on how the engine develops power.
And having to ride it out of the campgrounds, which was like gravel and mud, I was a little concerned with little tires. But no, because it stretched, it felt stable, felt really comfortable. And then once I got it out onto the pavement and I started to try it out. Now, this belonged to Swiggy from Nakamoto, and he said, you're welcome to take it out of the grounds and onto the roads. And I'm like, I'm good. I got it just to like the long driveway, the paved driveway, and started to spool it up, and it goes, like, and suddenly you're like, what? The power output keeps growing incrementally with every rise of the throttle. Like it goes from like 1 to 1 to 1 to 2 to 1 to 3 to 1 to 4 to 1 to 5. And pretty soon it's just like the slightest touch of the throttle could just send the wheel in the air.
It's a ripper.
It is a ripper. But down at the lower range, very easy.
Yeah. That's one of the magical things about two strokes is when they're tuned just right. When you hit that upper power band, they can just scream.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I understand why you'd want one, but California legal? Don't think so.
The new one I want.
Well, you see, from a look standpoint, I think the old one's far better looking.
No, you can bring it in because of the whole mileage thing, right? Over a certain mileage, you could bring it in.
I think so. I think there are loopholes that you can bring them in.
Really?
Like it's 7,500 miles. I believe it is possible.
No, not on a two-stroke.
Yeah,
I think
plated, grandfathered in. Why not?
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Well,
can you still ride the water buffalo legally?
Yeah, but it's a 1970s bike as opposed to an aughts bike. How old was this thing?
Ooh, are those 90s? Early 90s, I think?
There were some, I think they started in the 90s and continued into the early 2000s, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. So, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
But I tell you, though, once you get a taste of it.
Well, it's riding two strokes. That'll do it for you.
Ooh.
Now, even on the street, you have to have a sandwich in your pocket.
Have you ridden one, Bagel?
I have not, actually. I would like to ride one someday.
I have to revel in this moment, Mr. Scooter guy.
Yeah.
Has not ridden one yet.
You got the lucky chance I missed out on. Another reason why I wish I could have been there this year.
Yeah. And what was interesting is, there's really no such thing as a rare bike at Vintage Days, right? I mean, you've seen it all there, right, Emma?
Right.
So, MotoGP had his Honda Gyro there. He brought it back from Colorado to sell, the one he bought there. He did, and he sold it. It was one of 3 that weekend I saw.
Holy cow.
Not rare. Anywhere else in this country,
a gyro would be.
A Honda Gyro, very rare, especially the big pizza delivery one. There was another one just like it there. However, the Italjet scooter, I believe, was the rarest bike there. And a lot of people were stopping and scratching their heads and looking at it.
Well, it's that kind of bike because it's got the trellis frame. It's almost got like what I describe as a Tyrannosaurus Rex head sitting on top. It's quite an odd looking thing. It's cool, but it's odd. I'm not sure if lime was the best color for it. I mean, I've seen them in Ferrari red, and that looks very smart indeed. Let me see that lime one again.
This, you have to admit, can we all agree?
It's an amazing looking
Italjet
thing.
Dragster, old or new, are the sexiest scooters ever made.
They're very racy.
It is very.
They are sexy.
It is very zoomy. It is very. I'm not sure about the battery placement. What's going on with that battery?
Oh, it's being charged.
Oh, very good.
The battery actually swelled up after I rode it.
Oh, good.
It had to be removed. In fact, that bike is so sexy. I would call it no, help me. She just died today. Lonnie.
The Lonnie Anderson.
The Lonnie Anderson of scooters.
Or the Sophia Loren.
Ooh. And look at where that shock, what is that shock doing between your feet?
No, that's for the front suspension because it has hub center
Oh,
steering.
that makes it so much cooler.
Yeah, everything's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Everything about it is cool. Was this advanced technology or was this just weird technology?
Bit of both. I mean, you know, Italians generally very much see themselves as the innovators. And even if they didn't invent the technology, they'll run with it. I mean, witness desmodromic valve gear. We all know that Mercedes hold the patent on it, but it's really an Italian manufacturer that's run with it. The whole hub center steering thing, I think you can probably trace it back to a British engineer. But nevertheless, the Italians really ran with it, with the Italjet and the Bimotor, of course, the Tessie. And then, of course, there was the Yamaha GTS, and then the infamous Elf Racer of the late 80s that seemed to want to kill everybody, especially Rocket Ron Haslam. But nevertheless, I'm glad you actually brought up Lonnie Anderson because it is very tragic that she did pass on today. This is how up to the minute our show is, and for our primarily
dated at the same time.
Yeah, and primarily for our British listeners, certainly ones of my age as well. You couldn't grow up in the 70s without hearing records by Dave Edmunds. And he's desperately ill right now. Apparently he had a heart attack and died in his wife's arms. And she's ill herself. And the nurse who was taking care of her basically did CPR on Dave and brought him back. But he's got, severe brain damage now, apparently. And they don't know whether it's going to be permanent or not. So, I don't know what to say, Dave. I loved your music so much when I was growing up. I used to love hearing the latest Dave Edmunds stuff. So, I hope you pull through, mate.
Yeah. So, again, I can't wait till VMD next year.
Yes.
And here's the thing. I never made it to the mosh out pit. I didn't do one lap on the barrel racing.
What were you doing?
Never saw the trials.
What were you even doing?
Just having a good time hanging out with people.
Well, that's kind of what we do. We are the good time Charlies of the motorcycle world.
I did some test rides.
Yes.
I did ride the Royal Enfield Himalayan.
The Royal Oilfield.
Which was fine, but
the big Himalayan.
No, it's a
the 411?
450, I think.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay.
It's a better bike than the last Himalayan. But to me, it doesn't compare to the CF Moto Ibex. But you know what I really liked was the V-Strom 850DE, I think.
No, the 800.
Is it 800?
Yeah.
DE?
Yeah.
Really like that. You know what I liked about it?
Do you know what DE stands for?
Direct engagement.
Duh. Meanwhile...
You know what I really liked about it?
It was yellow.
No, that's the one thing I didn't like about it. You ever had a motorcycle that has a seat that feels like you're just sitting in the palm of someone's hand, like just cradles your ass?
You are a sick deviant.
I am not. Have you ever had a seat like that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've never had my ass cradled. I wouldn't know what it's like.
Oh, well, Emma, here, come over here and lean back.
I'd rather Bagel do it.
But you know what I mean?
I'd rather the cat does it.
when you have a seat that just feels like you're being cradled,
right?
And you just fit in it perfect, and you're just nice and like planted and comfortable.
The best seat I have ever had is, funnily enough, on one of the bikes I currently own, and that is the GS850. And the seat on that is like Granny's couch. It is absolutely the most squishy, comfortable, grandma's couch, crumbly cake and tea in the afternoon sofa you have ever sat on. And there's room for a friend as well.
I don't know if I've told you, when I had my BMW R1100 RT,
Yes.
to me, that was one of the worst seats I ever had.
Well, BMW suffer from this crisis that because it's German and alles must be correct, you sit on a BMW and it forces you into a certain position. And from an ergonomic standpoint...
It was like a slide. It just wanted to slide you down. It kept scooting your butt back.
Well, because it didn't want you to be back. It wanted you to be forward.
It wanted nuts on the tank.
Yeah, it wanted nuts on the tank, and that's BMW. So they force you into this position that's very ergonomically good, but there's no deviating from it. There's no pleasing them. You can't even shuffle around on a BMW. You're like, that's it, and that's what you get. The GSs, of course, are the exception, because the GS is it's designed as an adventure bike, so you can move around. But the BMW street bikes, it's like, this is the way you will sit, and it is correct, and there will be no deviation from it.
So when I was here about 25 years ago, I remember going to the BMW dealership to see what alternatives there were, and they had the Wunderlich seats.
Yeah.
There was like a partnership with BMW. And I remember like, well, how much does it cost? And this is at a time when I think a Corbin was maybe $250.
Oh, it's probably about $500-$600.
Oh, it was. I remember getting a quote for quite a lot. It may have been like $400, something like that, which was a lot when you could get a whole Corbin for $250. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I ordered, because I hated that seat so much.
Right.
And it came in and it was just the front seat. And I'm like, well, where's the rear seat? And they're like, oh, that's another $200.
Oh.
And I was like, what? Like, I never would have spent that much money on that seat had I known.
Wow.
I was very upset about that.
And rightfully so. It's not just BMW that do that. I mean, Ducati are the same. I mean, they know that their owners are going to have a certain income, so they are definitely quite aggressive with the pricing on stuff.
Yeah.
And, to be fair on them, some of the crash damage parts come through cheaper than I expected. But some of the accessory and upgrade parts, the stuff you want to buy as opposed to have to buy, you look at it and you think, how the hell do they justify that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, that was quite a shock price-wise, but it was a good seat. It worked out. But VMD, look, I'm no longer going to beg you guys to come because now I know I got stunt misfits to do the job.
I'll be back as soon as I can.
And I don't know if you heard, but there's new rules to the Nada race.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. The new rules are you have to start at the back. It doesn't matter what bike you're riding. Now, and here's the reason for the rule change. I, on my little Benelli, cannot be expected to win the race against full-size bikes. That's just an impossible task. They have way too much power. However, I've decided the rule is you just have to beat everybody with a milk crate on their bike. Now, here's the thing. What bikes commonly have milk crates on them?
Oh, I would say the most milk cratey bike. Mm-hmm. It used to be the T-Dub 200, but I think the DRZ 400's taken over.
Ooh, I didn't see any of those. Maybe there was a couple Trail 90s.
Yes.
Milk crates. And then you get the odd old Gen 1 KLR.
Of course.
Milk crates.
That's a good milk cratey bike.
And you get some scooters, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, this is fair because I'm not making it just small bikes, but any bike with a milk crate on, you should be able to beat that no matter what you're on.
I have a customer down at the shop with a Hayabusa with a milk crate on it. Which he actually, and God bless him, he just got his bike painted and he got the milk crate painted to match.
Wow.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, we had a little bit of an incident with the Nada ramp.
Oh?
So for those who don't know, Phil's gang, they build what appears, it looks very similar to what you would call a ramp, but it clearly isn't because he has painted not a ramp on it. And it just sits out in the roadway. And anytime someone's coming through on a bike, everyone shouts, "It's not a ramp, not a ramp." Just so they know. And so there was a situation around the corner where there was a ramp that had been brought out and kids were lined up and they were getting big air. And then somebody threw gasoline on it and lit it on fire. So there was a flaming ramp of death happening. And one of the kids from our camp, one of the friends of our camp,
came back with no eyebrows.
No, he ended up biffing it hard, and the EMTs had to be called.
Oh, what?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, he was fine the next day.
child.
Carter, yeah.
What happened to Carter?
Oh, he said he got about 12 feet in the air.
And then just ate it.
And then ate it.
Oh,
Came
no.
down hard.
Poor little
Came down hard.
lamb.
However, that meant that the sheriff was going around and trying to get rid of ramps. So he came by and told Phil, got to get rid of the ramp. And Phil looked him straight in the face and said, it's not a ramp. It says so. I'm like, check out the balls on Phil.
Yeah, and then next thing, of course, Phil is being led away in handcuffs.
Oh, so yeah, excellent time. Excellent
Good.
people.
I'm glad you had fun.
Really, just really great event. One of the things that's interesting though, there are a lot of people who think it's a vintage event. In fact, I was talking to some sponsors there who were trying to get some of the brands they work with to come out that sell motorcycle accessories and parts. And they're like, no, it's not really our thing. It's for vintage bikes. And it's like, I don't think it is. I think it's for everybody, And so there's this misconception of vintage bikes. But you guys have been there. It's
everything bikes.
Everything bikes. But it made me think about, vintage, retro bikes. And we have an email that came.
We do.
Yeah, I want you to read it because this will kick off the conversation.
So, this email is from Mark Cassidy.
Hey, Mark.
Do you think he's any relation to David Cassidy?
Maybe.
Maybe. Who knows?
What about Butch Cassidy?
That's my relative.
And you can stop looking at me like that, Cat.
Except his name was not Butch Cassidy.
Yeah. All right, very good.
He was a Parker.
Yeah. Meow. I know. Hello, Misfits. Love your podcast. Oh, that's a good start, isn't it? Fresh off a motor ride with some camping on Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, yeah.
Considering I'm 66 and my wife is close to that, the fact that I convinced her to camp in a tent was awesome. Well done.
Have you been to Martha's Vineyard?
No, I haven't.
Something interesting about Martha's Vineyard.
I'm told it's very nice.
Did you know that one side of the island is losing it's like 6 inches a year, and the other side of the island is gaining it? So there are houses that are being eaten by the ocean, and meanwhile, people on the other side now have a backyard where they never did.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That said, I got a story of an old versus a new Bonneville.
Okay.
I was having brunch at Sweet Life Cafe in Dorchester, Massachusetts. My Kawasaki Concourse was nearby. Two men, young and old, assumed father and son, came in after parking their quite similar Bonnevilles out front. After breakfast, it became apparent they were switching bikes for the next part of the ride. Dad's bike was a kickstart, and despite numerous kicks, the son couldn't get it started. Sheepishly, he got off, and Dad threw his leg over, gave one kick, and it fired right up. As a father of 3 grown sons, the faces the two exchanged were priceless. A bloody cat. The what's so hard about that look versus the WTF, I hate you look. Cheers, Mark. And it's a very, very valid point. So it brings us to the crux, as it were, of our conversation tonight. Because
do you hear her purring in the mic?
Yeah, I know. She's vibrating. She's a lovely little cat, but she's definitely looking quite scabby these days. Does she have the mange?
No.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, so let's have a conversation about vintage, which is easy to define.
Well, I want to make a declaration on your behalf. Because you know how I like to make declarations.
Yes,
Everybody,
like Christmas
including the industry, is wrong. Everyone is wrong.
Except me. Because we've been naming these bikes wrong. Because you will go down to your Kawasaki dealer or your Royal Enfield dealer. Well, actually, we'll come to Royal Enfield in a bit. Or even your Triumph dealer and say, what about the retro bikes? And they're not actually retro bikes. They're nostalgia bikes. So I am going to push to rename them.
Well, what is a retro bike by your definition?
Well, that's an interesting point because, I mean, to a certain extent, a retro bike and a nostalgia bike are similar. However, let's come to Royal Enfields because I think they're easy to define. If you take the Royal Enfield Bullet 350 in its most basic form, it is a developed product of something that started in 1955. So you can actually draw a direct line between 1955 and 2025 with incremental changes. And yes, it's got fuel injection now, and yes, it's got disc brakes, and yes, it's got turn signals. But it's a developed product. Now, to me, that is a retro bike. Conversely, also within...
Like a modern retro, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Conversely, within the Royal Enfield line, you have the Interceptor 650, which is although it shares... let's see if I can phrase this. Technology, perhaps from another time. It is a new bike that was designed specifically to appeal to a set of people who liked older bikes. That, to me, is a nostalgia bike. So it's a very, very slight difference. I would argue that the old Sportster was actually a retro bike. Because, I mean, it was a developed product. We already talked about Sportsters and, the K series from just after the Second World War. And it was developed and developed and developed and developed. And eventually it became the K, all the Ks and then the Xs and so on and so forth, right up until they dropped the Sportster and made it completely new. So that is a retro bike. The new one... Well, the new one's really just a cruiser. Let's take the Kawasaki Z900 RS.
Yeah, nice bike.
Nice bike. Lime green.
Right there.
Bikini fairing. That is a nostalgia bike because that bike has got a lot of new technology in it. It's got all the things. And it shares nothing except for styling with older Kawasaki's. There's no lineage to it except the name Z900. There isn't a single component you could take off a Z1 and put on that bike. But its styling is in such a way that it's going to appeal to people who look at Kawasaki's. In the Z900 RS is with the lime green and the bikini fairing. The Lawson replica bikes, the Clawson replica bikes. So late 70s, early 80s. And so it's kind of looking back on that. So perhaps the difference between nostalgia bikes and retro bikes is nostalgia bikes is really the style driving the name as opposed to the older technology driving the name. I don't know. You don't seem convinced, Bagel.
I think it's the other way around, actually.
Okay, tell me more, because, I mean, I think I'm on to something, but whether it's the nub of the thing.
I think you're close, because the retro is, as I see it, is referring specifically to the styling, because you can have a modern bike that's styled in a retro style that harkens back to earlier age, like the 60s, 50s, 40s,
so that
30s, whatever.
It's a purely visual affectation, which makes it appealing.
Right, it has the retro look, right, with modern drivetrain components.
So surely that is a nostalgia bike.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think there can be these are two different circles on a Venn diagram where there's going to be some overlap. Because nostalgia, really what nostalgia is talking about is that's a yearning for an experience or a time or a thing of the past, right? You're wishing for things to be the way they used to be. You want to have that visceral experience of a carbureted motorcycle that has a choke and, is cranky to start when it's cold or something like that. You enjoy
vintage.
Well, that's vintage, but you can have that in a modern bike as well. Like, for example, when Vespa came out with the Vespa PX Millennium Edition, that was the last two-stroke Vespa that they sold in the U.S. in the early 2000s. That, I would say, is very much a nostalgia bike because it's the same platform, the same technology, with as many modern advancements as they had at the time. But it was the same, basic bike going back to the late 70s. So, issued, many years later, that I think classifies very much as a nostalgia bike because it's more than just retro because it's the exact same platform, not just the styling. Whereas like a modern Vespa automatic has the same retro styling as an older Vespa, with the leg shield and the cowls in the rear and the front fender. It evokes that same styling, but it's a completely different modern bike.
So Bagel,
yeah,
is a Vespa a retro?
It depends. Like I was just saying, it depends on which one you're talking about.
Okay, is the GTS a retro or a nostalgia?
I would say that the GTS is a retro bike.
What about the GTV?
They're all retro. GTS, GTV.
So they're all retro.
60, yeah, because those are styled after the older Vespas in the same basic layout, but using a completely new modern design with modern technology. Whereas
Emma says that's nostalgia.
Well, nostalgia is yearning for that experience of the past, I would say, more than just the look.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really getting into more the crux of language rather than bikes. But I mean, we've got genuinely old-fashioned bikes out there, which, I mean, let's take the W800. That is an interesting case because the W800, although it's only been out a few years, it was developed from the W650, which in itself is a 25, 20,
so that's now a vintage retro.
26-year-old platform.
Yeah.
Virtually unchanged.
Vintage retro.
Which was a retro when it came out, and now it's a vintage
It was
design.
a modern retro, now it's a vintage retro.
And then, of course, the Z-Rex. I mean, the Z-Rex is a perfect example. The Z-Rex, the 11s and then the 12s, were basically, they shared nothing with the Lawson bikes from the early 80s, but they were clearly designed to appeal to the same kind of people who go to gyms and wear undershirts with holes in them and are called Brad. That's who ride Z-Rexes. So it's the same people. Now, but now Z-Rexes themselves are old. So you have...
Well, that's vintage.
Yeah.
So we're talking about modern ones. So, and again, the GB500, like the W650,
the Blimey
is now a vintage retro.
Well, here, let me throw out a suggestion here. How about the Janus? Because that is a modern bike, but it is made in a way to evoke the entire experience of a very vintage bike.
So that, to me, is the ultimate nostalgia bike.
But hold on.
Exactly. That's a nostalgia bike.
Yes, it is.
What motor does it use?
Chinese.
Which is a clone of?
I don't know.
an old Honda 250.
Yeah, but it's got the fuel injection. And it's got,
but if it's a clone of an old Honda 250.
Sure. Well, it's a mishmash of different parts, and different designs, but it's the overall experience that it evokes is of a vintage motorcycle.
And they're actually they're turning the screws up on the nostalgia thing, because if you say, okay, it's a clone of a Honda 250 from the 60s, the styling of Janus is not from the 1960s, from the 1920s or 30s.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. It's a hot mess. Yep. Well, let me ask you about some others. So what about like the BMW R9T or the R18?
Nostalgia. They're nostalgia bikes.
Because they're called retro.
Yeah, but they're nostalgia bikes because the technology is very modern on those bikes. There's no parts shared with older bikes.
But I'm going to throw in a whammy on your theory here.
Well, it might be that I've got my theory back to front. It's just the way I think about the language as opposed to the...
So let me redefine it.
Yeah.
To me, a retro is a bike that is hearkening from an earlier day style-wise, but that may never have existed. And a nostalgia is one that is calling back a bike from an old day. So I would say that Vespas are nostalgic because they've always existed like that. But something like, so the Z900 RS, was there ever a bike that looked exactly like that?
No, of course not.
So that would be a retro. No, retro. Nostalgia, I think, is one that's brought back. So, for instance.
So you think of, and you may be right, it may be that the Royal Enfield Bullet 350, the developed product from the 1950s, is really the ultimate retro bike. Yeah. Whereas the Bullet 650, or the classic 650, which is a completely new motorcycle, but in that style.
Let me give you another example.
Yeah.
The Honda Monkey or the Super Cub.
Nostalgia bikes.
Exactly, because they existed before.
But there's no commonality between those bikes and what's now.
Absolutely is in the style.
I mean, in the style only.
Which is nostalgia. Now, but then a retro would be an R9T or an R18. Those bikes never existed. But that styling calls to that time.
Oh, maybe.
You see what I'm going with that?
Yeah, no, I get you.
Bagel's still stewing on that.
It's a point, and I think it's a point that deserves some input from our listeners, because I think we've already established that within the retro genre, there are bikes that really harken back to an actual motorcycle that existed.
So what if I said the Royal Enfield Meteor?
That's a perfect example. So that is the ultimate retro.
Because it never existed.
No, the Meteor did.
The Meteor existed? Then that's nostalgia.
Oh, it's nostalgia then. I got myself all
Okay, then how about a Ducati Scrambler?
You see, the Ducati Scrambler was the first Ducati. 1962, the first proper-sized motorcycle Ducati that was born out of, all the little stuff after Ducati Elettronica. So you could argue the Ducati Scrambler is the most important.
But did they really go through the effort to make it look like the old Ducati Scrambler?
No, there's nothing. It's its own thing.
But when you look at the Super Cub or the Monkey, they made great effort to make it look like that.
Right.
Yes. Bagel?
But the difference between the Super Cub and the Monkey is that the Super Cub has the same basic frame and layout that the original Cub did, but the Monkey is a completely different frame and design. That's based off of the Grom, right? So that's my understanding.
The Dax.
The modern Monkey?
The Dax.
Well, everything goes back to...
Well, the Dax and the Super Cub are based
and now they have the new Dax.
Those are based off similarly to the CT70 and the original Cub.
No, I take it back. The Monkey is a callback to the Monkey.
it's
the
a
DAX
callback.
is a callback to the DAX.
Right, or CT70 as some. But my point, though, is that the modern monkey is a completely different design from the original monkey, is it not?
Yes.
Right. It's based off of a Grom platform.
Right.
And it's made to look like a vintage monkey.
Exactly. So
but it's much bigger.
No common
right.
parts.
So isn't that significant in making the difference between a retro and a nostalgia bike?
Well, let me ask you this. How about the Triumph Bonneville?
See, that's a good example, because when we think about the Bonneville, the last Triumph, God, I hate to call them original. The last air-cooled original design Bonnevilles that you can draw a direct line to the late 50s Bonnevilles rolled off the line in 83. Now there's a gap. There's a gap between 83 and 2000. So it's a 17-year gap. And then the Bonnevilles, as we know them, came in, and then they got developed, and then they got fuel injection. And then they got liquid cooled, and here they are right now. So it's kind of on the fence, because there is lineage that goes back 25 years that's demonstrably proven lineage, but it only goes back that far. So there's nostalgia and there's retro there, depending on how you look at it.
Well, and I'd even go through so far to say, when you look at a bike like the Royal Enfield Bullet, that is a modern vintage.
So you're going to chuck in vintage?
I'm going to throw, yes. I think we're defining here that a nostalgia harkens back to a model from the past. That retro,
a specific model.
That retro harkens back to a time and style, and that vintage is something that's over 25 years old that has really not changed.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're getting close with this. So if we take retro, a retro bike is, let's do the Bonneville. The Bonneville is a retro bike. It's going straight back to a specific model.
Nope, that would be nostalgia.
Oh, in that case, it's a nostalgia bike. I'm all turned around.
Yeah. Retro to a period and style, but nostalgia to a specific model.
Oh, I think you got it the wrong way around.
Oh, gosh. Well, then let me...
But it's only the wrong way around because it's the idiosyncrasies of the English language. Okay. Your way of thinking is sound, but I think you're falling at the finish
Bagel,
line.
Break the tie. Right.
Well, okay. Well, let me turn to an authority here to confirm the proper usage of.
Is this the Oxford English?
Well, this is Merriam-Webster. It's just
no.
Hold
on. Before you read that, let me just throw in my argument. The reason I'm saying nostalgia is somebody who had a Trail 70 as a kid. They remember that nostalgia, and they may want a DAX now because of that nostalgia they have.
Right. Now, let me offer this definition for retro. Relating to, reviving, or being the styles and especially the fashions of the past, fashionably nostalgic or old-fashioned. Now, I think that has a lot to do with the look, the styling, the design of something, and not necessarily so much to do with the technology that's used. And I think that the distinction with a nostalgic bike is that it may have the styling and the look of an older bike, but more importantly, it has to use a lot of the technology and do away with a lot of the modern conveniences that you would have on a retro bike. Because let me offer an example from the car world.
Yeah,
like the new Beetle, that was a retro vehicle because it was completely different from the original Beetle.
Sure.
Just had the same shape and the same look in, basic, proportions as the original one. But a vehicle like a Porsche kit car, that is a modern manufactured vehicle using the original dimensions, the same sort of running gear, updated with maybe modern components. That I would say is more of a nostalgia vehicle, because that's going to have the same feel, the same driving position, the same sort of handling as the original.
So we were just talking about the Triumph Bonneville, but what about the Triumph Scrambler?
Oh.
See, this is where I say I believe that the Bonneville is nostalgia, but the Scrambler is retro.
You see, I think the same, that they are different bikes, but I think the opposite. And that's not right or wrong. It's just how I use the language. Yeah. But I think we can agree they are different bikes.
All right.
Because one is very much a replica-ish of a bike that existed. The other one is not. It's hearkening back to the scramble bikes of a certain time.
But not a specific
bike. Whereas the Bonneville, it looks like a Bonneville.
Exactly. So, Bagel, let me throw one out to you, see what you think.
Okay.
How about an Indian Chieftain?
What year are we talking about?
Right now.
Like
you can walk into an Indian dealership and look at an Indian Chieftain.
I would call that a retro bike, because that is a modern motorcycle that is styled with the traditional styling of a Indian, full dresser motorcycle, right?
See, I would call that nostalgia.
As would I.
Even though it's not a, carbureted, older technology bike. It's got, modern fuel injection. It's got
it's a very modern
gadgets.
bike. It's got traction control. It's got ABS. I think it's got yaw control on it. Some of the big Chieftains have got everything. I mean, it's literally, it's got a lavatory on it that will wipe your bottom too.
Right, exactly. Which is what original Indians did not have. They didn't have all these gadgets. They didn't have all these luxuries.
Right.
This is a completely different bike.
It's styled.
It's styled, which is that's not nostalgia. That is retro. That is retro. Because it is just the look, it is just the styling. Everything else is modern. Everything else is, gadgety. Let me also offer the definition of nostalgia as well, because I think that what this encompasses is more than just the look. It says nostalgia is a wistful or excessively sentimental yearning for return to or of some past period or irrecoverable condition. So I would say that encompasses the whole experience of riding the bike, the whole smell, the sounds, the handling, the quirks of it, the pitfalls of it, the shortcomings, all that stuff is part of the experience. And to have a true nostalgia bike, you need to have all of that. If you have a modern bike, you don't get that same experience. You have the look, which is retro, but that only goes so far. For the full nostalgia experience, I think you need more than just that. You need to have a true, or a much more authentic replica of the original bike in order to replicate the experience.
So I'm going to say, Emma's looking at the Indian motorcycle lineup right now. If anyone else wants to look that up. And I think they've got all of the things right there. And to anyone outside of like the cruiser world, they may look very similar to you. But for instance, I will say that the Challenger, Emma, do you see the Challenger?
Challenger.
Oui. That is just a modern cruiser.
Yes.
Modern cruiser. Then if you look at the Chieftain.
Yes.
I believe that is a nostalgic bike. It harkens back to the old Chieftain.
Yeah, it's got the flip on the fender.
Hold on, Bagel.
What kind of front suspension does it have?
Hold on, Bagel. Doesn't matter. That is harkens to the old Chieftain. It has style and design of that Chieftain to remind you of it.
Does it have a leaf spring?
The Springfield, if you look at the Springfield,
yes,
to me is the retro bike, because look at the engine on a Springfield.
I haven't found it yet.
It's down at the bottom.
Oh, it's all the way.
Now, the Springfield, what they did is they made an old-looking engine that almost looks almost sandcast. Like, they are really trying to make that one look retro. You see what I'm saying? Nostalgia can be modern and updated as long as it harkens to a model. But that Springfield, you see that engine is different from the others.
I mean, it's got the very heavily balanced fender.
And that is a retro. I think Indian Motorcycles has figured out those subtle differences, and they offer them all.
I think we're all on the same page, including Bagel, even though you sound like you're babbling from the sickbed, darling.
Yeah, I think I draw the lines a little differently.
It's a pedantics of the English language. What I am looking at is the Indian Pursuit Elite. A snip starting at $44,000, $999 US. 45 grand. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well,
Good Lord. Look at it. It's a great... My God. I bought houses for less than that.
Yeah. So let me throw out a couple more, see what you guys think.
All right. Very
this
good.
one, let's just get the controversial one out of the way.
Oh, dear.
I'm going to start with Bagel, because I already know Emma's opinion.
Okay.
Bagel, what do you think of the new Africa Twin?
The new Africa Twin as a retro bike?
Is it a retro or a nostalgic bike?
I don't think it is either.
Nice.
When they bring a name back.
I don't think the name has really that much to do with it, because a name is just a name. It can be repurposed. It can be, slapped on something completely different. I mean, look at the Mustang. It's a crossover now. It's not a pony muscle car.
Quit bringing cars into the motorcycle podcast.
I'm just saying, I mean, you brought Jeeps in here in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's just the name, Liza. The Africa Twin is an adventure bike.
It is. It's an adventure bike, but it shares a lineage that goes back, pretty far to the 80s, right?
Right. But there's a gap. There's a gap.
Okay.
And I think the only thing the lineage, I'll put my speaking teeth in, it shares is the name, because there's value in the name. Just as there's value in the name Tenere and Super Tenere.
Well, it is, but it's been the same. The bike's had the same purpose since the beginning. It's been a large off-road adventure bike, right?
Because that's what it is.
Well,
right. That's its purpose. And even though they stopped making it for a while, I would say that's, there was a gap, but they continued, they revived it and continued it on later. So I'd say it's
there was a gap in Indians. All right, let me present to you another one of the same vein. I present to you the Suzuki Katana.
Oh God, I'm going to upset so many people now. Would you like to know what that bike is?
What is that?
It's a turd.
Oh!
It's exact.
This is the brand new Suzuki Katana.
I know.
Is it a retro? Is it a nostalgia?
It's exactly what happens when you take the name of a bike and give it to somebody who knows nothing about motorcycle styling. God, if you own one, I am so sorry. I just can't get beyond.
Are you looking it up, Bagel?
How
Suzuki Katana?
I can't get over how gruesome this bike is. I just can't.
They don't really show a lot of pictures on their website, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at one. Just type in Suzuki Katana, a bunch of pictures come up. This is a bike that
needs a foot on the tail.
Would you say, Emma, that this bike is nostalgic in the name alone, much like the Africa Twin?
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's value in the Suzuki Katana name. It's had an interesting history because, of course, to different people, the name Katana means different things. To people of my generation, the Katana will always be the very early 80s Hans Muth styled, 1000, 1100, 750. In fact, there was a whole range of them. The smaller ones were quite diluted down, although the 400 was an absolutely gorgeous little thing. But the 550 and the 650 were actually quite ordinary. They just had a few Katana accoutrements. But of course, the 1000 with the slide carburetors on it. I mean, that was the one to have. But then to people who are younger, people who are in their 40s, the Katana's always going to be the sort of 90s, cheap chuck 'em down the road bikes. And they're great bikes, but, they were a cheaper bike. But that is, oh, God, I can't even look at it. It breaks my heart
Emma,
so much.
While you're looking at that, can I throw out another one?
Yes.
The Triumph Trident.
No, that's just a name.
Okay.
It's a name and nothing else.
So now we've established.
And I think that's just a name and nothing else.
So now we've established there are certain models like the Africa Twin and the Katana and the Trident that are nostalgic in name only.
Name only.
Then there are certain bikes that are nostalgic in the name and style, like the Monkey or the Cub or the Bonneville, right?
Yeah. Scrambler.
Right. Okay. And then there are
genuine retro bikes like the Royal Enfield Bullet.
Like, how about the XSR 900?
Ooh. No, that's more.
It's considered a retro because that bike didn't exist, but it's got retro styling.
Right. It looks like it's an older bike.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's the way I've always heard a retro referred to is the way something looks. It's the.
I think we're wearing Emma out. So, all right, I've got one more bike on this list. What do you think, Emma, of the SR 400?
Oh, now that is a very, very interesting example.
Yes,
that to me is vintage because it is completely unchanged. You see,
it went from a 500 to a 400.
No, but it was always a 400 in Japan.
Okay.
So it's completely unchanged since 1977.
Even though it was a new bike, you're saying it was a vintage.
I think that's
it is
because
now.
It's not changed.
Is the SR 400 carbureted?
Yes. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think I did. No.
Oh, and does it have an e-start?
No.
Right. It's a kickstart only carbureted bike that's brand new.
Right.
That would be a
vintage design.
Vintage.
And that's what I said. It's vintage. It's the ultimate vintage.
Yeah.
Did you guys
I think it is actually fuel injected now. I think it had to be because they couldn't get it through carb otherwise. But they might have dropped it.
Did you guys have any more examples you wanted to share of vintage, retro, or nostalgic?
You see, I differ with you, Bagel, in that I think the GTS and the GTV are two quite separate animals in terms of what they are. I think the GTV is very much looking back to an earlier time because it has bare handlebars, it has the Faro Basso. It has the colours, the styling cues that harken back.
Right. It's a throwback to the 40s Vespas versus the GTS, which is a throwback to the 60s Vespas.
I have a new one for you. Wait, I had it and then I lost it. Shoot, I had it and I lost it. Wait, it was behind you. Let me. It was was it a Daytona? Oh, no, it was. I lost it. Dang. Oh, I got it. What category do you put the Hayabusa in?
Oh, it's his own thing.
But how old is that?
It's getting on now.
Is it a vintage now? It looks exactly the same, doesn't it?
It is remarkably unchanged. So there are always going to be anomalies.
I think it's now a vintage. The Hayabusa is a vintage.
Well, just hang on. There are always going to be anomalies like the Hayabusa and like the VMAX. And these are standalone bikes. I think the Hayabusa, you can't categorize it as anything because it's really its own thing. Its closest relative is the ZX14, but as anyone will tell you, they are actually very different bikes.
How about the Ural?
Oh, vintage.
Oh, vintage, yeah.
Okay, how about the Royal Alloy?
Royal Alloy. I can't even say it.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. That's a very interesting case because that is based on
a Lambretta.
What was an original Lambretta frame design, but highly modified. And it's using a modern Vespa engine. So there are arguments that could be made that is an actual throwback or a nostalgia bike because it does share some common heritage to the original Lambrettas. But I would say that's much more of a retro because it does ride very differently. It sits higher. It's got a modern engine that performs very differently from an original Lambretta. And on a side note, my modern Lambretta bastard frame that I picked up a couple of years ago, I've just taken to the paint strippers to have it stripped down so I can start to play around with that one.
Oh, good. So I think what we've established, there's actually 3 categories. There's nostalgia, retro, and vintage.
Yeah.
And you can buy these bikes new. The vintage has got nothing to do with it being an old bike.
Right. A new vintage bike, yeah.
Right. So,
but everyone calls all of them retro, and that's what we wanted to really break it down.
Yeah. Well, if it has a retro look, I think it can fall within that retro circle. But in order to be a nostalgia bike, I really feel like it has to have more than just the look. It has to have a feel and experience that evokes the bikes of the past.
So speaking of vintage, a bike that got sold out of Phil's booth at Vintage Days that I was like, I don't know what that is. And it was beat up. It looked like somebody took like a sledgehammer to it. Okay. When they pay like $5 a hit? It looked like that. It was a Fuji Rabbit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was pink, like faded pink, like an old Cadillac.
Well, they came, I think, just in the gold and white, didn't they, Bagel?
Yeah, like a golden cream, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. It just looked like...
Oh, poor rabbit.
Yeah, but talking about vintage.
There's still a Mitsubishi Silver Pigeon for sale.
Oh, God.
Locally. Are you interested, Bagel?
I would not be. I have too many projects as it is. And,
okay, very good.
And that's a really strange one that would take a lot of ingenuity to get running.
I'm going to throw there's another category.
Go on.
So we were just talking about the Katana. I think that the current Katana and the original Katana were trying to look like a futuristic modern.
Oh, so future
and it is
modern.
Now a retro futuristic modern.
You know what?
Right?
So we're going to call that category, we need a good name.
Because there were other bikes that they wanted to look like they came from the future.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It's Blade Runner style.
Vintage futurism.
No, Blade Runner. For sure. Because Blade Runner was made, 45 years ago?
Acura?
So, listeners, we want to hear your opinion. Tell us what you think.
Are we on the right track? Have we
got it right? Things. Are there any bikes we missed? And what do you categorize them as? So, continuing on,
if you think the Bagel should commit himself after such an appalling diatribe, let us know. Because I'll be happy to make him toddle off to the funny farm and get his head adjusted.
Tell us what you think. motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. All right, I have a new game. It's not a game so much as I'm setting you guys up for an argument, but it'll be fun.
I'll fight anyone. I don't care.
And I call this the color game, and it's really simple. I'm going to list a brand of motorcycle, and I want you to tell me what their color is. Very simply, we're going to start out with, and you can say it together, Honda.
Red.
Okay. Ducati.
Red.
Very simple. How about Kawasaki?
Lime green, of course.
How about KTM?
Orange.
All right. Yamaha.
Yellow.
And I was going to say cobalt blue.
Different eras.
Kenny Roberts would argue with you.
Yes, probably.
I would go with yellow. Suzuki.
Yellow.
Blue.
Oh.
Because that's a nostalgia thing. Everybody knows that Suzuki dirt bikes in their 70s were yellow with blue stripes.
How about Harley?
They used blue at another time, though, didn't they?
Wonder what the official color is. How about Harley Davidson?
Black and orange.
Yeah.
But black, right?
Especially.
BMW.
Blue and white.
But we're not getting into what color just reminds you of that? What do you think?
I always think that steel metallic color is
for BMW.
Yeah, it's very BMW. Like steel blue metallic.
If I had to pick one, it would be black because most of their vintage bikes were painted black.
Oh, black with a white pinstripe is the very traditional.
Right. But
let's do that. Black with a white pinstripe. Bagel's right.
How about Vespa?
Poo brown.
What's the official color?
Poo brown.
I would say metallic green.
See, I would say metallic pearl white. To me.
Oh no, that's too new. I know the color Bagel. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
almost like a pea, kind of moss.
Are you talking about the green right behind you
like
on the
an
P200E?
Metallic.
Look up.
No, that's too bright. It's a very cool color. It's like a moss,
early 50s
fern green metallic. Yeah,
right. Like a very fine.
Really, you think that's the color of Vespa?
Yeah, it's the color of your shirt, Liza.
Okay, like an army green.
Yeah, almost.
Well, how about Indian?
Red
is
a very traditional,
like wine red,
like a brick red.
Yeah.
How about Moto Guzzi?
Green.
I think green because of your bike.
Yeah, well, green because of the green on the Italian flag. Yeah. But of course, all the Le Manses were red.
But they also had white ones too.
I'm going to say any Italian motorcycle brand, their color is red.
Yeah, and it's not just red. I mean, it's hooker red.
Never wrong.
It's just what shade of red? Like lipstick red, hooker red.
Yeah.
But for Moto Guzzi, I could see red, white, or green for any of them.
Right.
How about that?
Yeah,
All right. How about Zero?
Black? Like flat black?
Gray?
And how about the last one? What do you think the official color is of CF Moto?
Poo brown.
I've never even seen one in the flesh. I have no idea.
I don't know.
Okay, how about, can we all agree on Royal Enfield?
No.
I'm gonna,
I don't know. They have all kinds of different colors, right?
Well, to me, even though I don't think that they put them out in this color, army green for bikes of that era, it seems like army green. Because when you say Ural, what color is the color of Ural?
Yeah, I mean,
it's the color of the proletariat, comrade.
All right, now
whatever color is available.
Now let me swap this around. Because there's a color nobody has claimed, and I'm going to say the color, and then I want you guys to tell me which company you think should adopt it if they have.
Oh, this is easy.
Purple.
Purple?
Purple.
That's a royal color, you know.
Yeah, so
Royal Enfield.
Which company should have purple as their
color?
color?
I think there's value in that, and I shall tell you why. Triumph did a lot of purple bikes back in the day, except they didn't call it purple. They called it Jacaranda. But they were very purple indeed. But there's something very British about purple. And there's also something very Indian about purple. You know, there's this sort of royal connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, Royal Enfield should claim purple. And in fact, if I remember right, one of Royal Enfield's bikes is yellow with violet graphics on it. It's a wild paint job.
I am going to say Suzuki should take purple.
That is absolute. That is not only...
What color is Rufus?
Many colors.
One of them being?
Purple.
Okay.
Yellow.
Would you say that Rufus wears it well?
Oh, God, yeah.
Then why shouldn't Suzuki take purple?
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd color, though. It suits graphics.
It stands out.
It does stand out, but it's not a good universal color. Red is a great universal color. You can pretty much paint everything red and it'll look good.
It's just the shade of red.
Yeah,
Like it's,
everybody uses red.
when you say Indian, we all think of that like scarlet.
Yeah, that
crimson.
sort of darker, that crimson.
What about Husqvarna?
Orange.
Because I'm looking at the one right behind you.
Well, Huskies, back in the day,
orange.
They were like a Cabernet Sauvignon color with the chrome knee grips. But then, of course, they went to the blue and yellow. What color's the one behind me?
Silver.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but the Huskies
blue and yellow.
Blue and yellow.
You know what I find if you really want to know what the team colors are? Look at the dirt bikes.
Yeah.
That's where they really show it.
And that is why I immediately went to yellow for Suzuki.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you grow up in the 70s, every single Suzuki dirt bike out there, the RMs, the later on the DRs, the PEs, they were all bright yellow.
Well, the dirt bikes is where they really seem to identify the brand by the color.
Right.
Well, especially when you get dirt bikes that from 20 feet all look alike.
So I'm going to introduce a little bit of useless information here. And unfortunately, it's about a car as well, so I apologize. But back in the 1960s, there was a very, very famous car racer called Bruce McLaren.
Oh.
And McLarens were always orange. And I mean, the most vivid coloured orange.
I definitely don't think of McLarens as orange.
Well, now you don't. But back then, they were orange. And these are the race cars back in the 60s. And Bruce McLaren, why are your cars always orange? Well, back then, they didn't have colour. Where they film the races in black and white. And the orange stood out as a completely different shade on a black and white set. So you could always tell when the McLaren was in the lead. How about that? Yeah. And it was right on the brink of school bus yellow. It was a good colour. Mm-hmm. It was a really good colour. So, but now, of course, the modern McLarens come in any colour but if you see a McLaren from the 1960s, it's always this sort of school bus yellow, almost orange colour with a big chrome fin on the back. Amazing looking thing.
I find it very interesting, though, that there are certain brands that
everyone are synonymous with colour.
With sun, yeah, exactly. And then it gets murky after that.
I tell you what, I am going to change my opinion on BMW colours. It's the martini colours. It's always got to be the martini colours.
What's a martini colour?
It's the white with the two-tone blue and red stripe.
That's a martini? Oh, is that a name, not a drink?
Yeah, I call it the martini colours. I mean, I think it's BMW Motorgruppa, but it's the same colour as the martini colours. Martini sponsored a lot of racing in the 70s, and their vehicles were always white with two-tone blue and red stripes. Same as BMW.
I just thought of another brand, and I think we can agree on this one. Maybe. Benelli.
Green.
Exactly.
They're the green
old.
ones.
New or old.
And it is
Benelli.
And it is the green of. It's a very specific green.
There's a new sport bike that's like that hunter green, but then my little Benelli is like that lime green. It's green.
But
green.
the true Benelli green. It's like almost like grass green. It's the green of the Italian flag.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, Bagel, are you ready to be jealous?
Oh, sure.
Because in a few weeks, I am going to be checking off one of my bucket list events.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Oh, yeah. I have lucked my way into an opportunity to go to Bonneville.
Oh, wow.
For motorcycle speed trials.
Nice.
And I'm saying with air quotes, be on Aaron Sill's team, which to me means you just figure out how to stay out of the way, but you get to watch
and have people like send you off to run errands for them.
But also, I might be running errands.
Most likely.
Exactly.
I know how it gets there.
Exactly. So I've never been to Bonneville for speed trials.
Very cool. That's awesome.
And I have an opportunity because another racer has a bike that's been built up by San Jose BMW, and they need it transported. And they were offering to pay somebody to transport. I'm like,
oh, well, there you go.
I have a trailer.
Nice.
I could do that.
Now, my advice to you
Yes.
Google search Wendover, because that's going to be your
That's where I'm
nearest
staying.
town. So you're actually staying in Wendover.
Yeah, I have a room in Wendover.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yes.
It's a little town, but it's a cute little town.
Yeah, I've been there before, stayed there before. And then Aaron was nice enough to say, yeah, I'll get you a crew pass to come be on our, crew team. Again, air quotes, learn how to stay out of the way, but be available if somebody needs a grunt to go run something somewhere.
Right.
Nice. Have you checked to see if the casino has a seafood tower yet?
I'm sure it has lobster at market price.
I don't know. Do I trust seafood in Wendover?
I wouldn't. The further away from the coast you get, the more dodgy seafood gets.
In Vegas, they're flying stuff in.
It used to be an ocean at one point.
Liza, trust me, Wendover ain't Vegas.
Oh, I know. They're not flying stuff into Wendover. It's going in the back of a station wagon.
That's right. Or Greyhounds bringing it in.
I know. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that in a few weeks. And so once again, asking everyone here to cover.
Oh, I'm insanely jelly.
But we have a cool guest already booked, so it should be easy for you. And I get to share the experience of going to Bonneville. So yay. Right time, right opportunity.
Fantastic.
Jim and I, we have the motto, just say yes.
I mean, that's what you've got to do. I mean, that's, when an opportunity presents itself, particularly involving motorcycles, you just got to say yes to it. And I'm reminded of that whole thing doing the Dolomites and the Alps trips. That was just me saying yes to Kat. And, I'll figure out a way to do those again. So
just say yes.
Just say yes.
Well, we have a bunch.
Yeah, we got a lot to get through.
I wanted to start with one from our own Neil. And you know how when Wendy called in to talk about the Zontes blowing up?
Yeah, and we've got an email about that, of somebody offering an opinion.
Yes, if you want to get that one ready. But Neil said, Chinese bikes blowing up. Kawasaki says, hold my sake. And Emma, I had you read their
so it's basically it applies to ZX636s and a whole swathe of them, Kawasaki's. And it appears that the main bearing bolts, which in fact are the crankcase bolts, have been over-tightened on journal number 5, leading to catastrophic engine failure. Now, there's a couple of things that are interesting when I read through this. There's a lot of bikes affected. There's 177,000, which is a huge amount. Most likely with a fault, less than 1%, which is interesting. But what makes it really interesting for me is, and it kind of dovetails into what we've been talking about, the ZX636, you could almost call a vintage bike because it is so unchanged from when it was first introduced back in the early 2000s. And it just goes to show that sooner or later you can have a really established engine, established production line, probably an established workforce, and some bloody idiot drops the ball and does something.
Well, and this is what Wendy's point is that we're blaming that engine blowing up on it being a Chinese-made bike. Yet here is a long-established company, Kawasaki, making a bike that you're saying is...
It's long-established.
Long-established, that the engines are blowing up.
Mistakes do happen. Look, that said, from my experience when I worked at a dealership, a lot of modern dealerships' workload is what's called the NHTSA recalls. And the NHTSA recalls are the North American Highway Transportation Safety Authority. And, the complaints will come in, they'll investigate, say this needs to be done. And then they present it with the manufacturer and say, look, you need to do this. get your dealerships on the ball. And it's a huge part of what modern mechanics do, is they do the NHTSA recalls. What I can tell you is generally the most troublesome bikes were the ones made in China.
Okay.
You know, and that was just my experience. You know, the CBR 250 and 300 are a great example. I did tons of them. Oh, my God, I did tons of CBR 300s with the crankshaft failures. You know, I got so quick at them, I could actually hold the crankshaft in my hands while it was still warm from running. But Chinese-made bikes. Groms, oh, God, you don't want to know what Groms were doing, you know? Z125s, all the Chinese-made products, and these are the ones that had the problems. Were the Japanese-made bikes with problems? Hell yeah, there were. R1s, 2015 R1s.
So you say China is still part of the problem, but not that the brand is a Chinese company, but just the factory, where the factory is. It could be anything is more likely.
It really could be anything.
But a Chinese company like CF Moto could also make a very decent bike.
They could. And therein lies the thing. And there are so many variables. I always tell people, when they bring a bike to my shop, I always say, look, it's crime scene investigation.
Yeah.
We know the crime. The crime is your engine blew up. So now we've got to gather up the usual suspects and probe a bit further. And the usual suspects are temperature, oil, and use. So I always ask owners, I say, you need to be candid about what you were doing. You need to be candid about how diligent you've been with oil changes. And you need to be very candid about how you ride this bike. And usually you can gather enough clues from that, because it's not just making a repair, it's making a long-lasting repair.
I'm going to go back even further in history. The first clue is price point.
Right. Well, not necessarily.
Okay, well.
Because I would take a cheaply made bike with a high mileage that's had a beautiful service history with the highest quality oil over a Ducati that has never had any work done on it and has only got 5,000-6,000 miles on it any day of the week.
Do you have the other email about the Zontes?
I do. And I mean, it may be. I think, you know, there may be something in this.
So, by the way, while we were at Vintage Days, Wendy got a message that the Zontes, they're sending someone to pick up the engine.
Oh, great.
They want it back.
So, I want to guess too, and this is from Jason in Seattle,
hey, Jason.
Also known as Six Bike Garage. How many bikes do you think Jason has?
9. Is
More
it
than
up to
6.
Is that number 9? I'm listening to the Iron Butt story with the Zontes failure, and I want to guess about the failure point too. I'm going to say it was the cam tensioner blade, or strictly speaking, the cam chain tensioner blade. I'm imagining that it started chunking and blocked an oil passageway, causing an oil shortage. Cheers, Jason in Seattle.
That's a fair guess.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. I think one of the great clues here, and we're going to have to figure out which it is.
Because that's usually made of like a plastic, right?
Yeah, it's a phenolic material.
So that is something that can break apart.
And
it's designed as a wear part too, essentially, right?
Right.
But not designed to wear quite that fast and in that big chunk.
Somebody may have dropped the ball on the material used.
Possibly.
It's at this stage, we really don't know what happened to that engine. And when they take it back at the Zontes factory, believe me, the parts are going to be subject to microscopic laboratory inspections, because you've got to figure out, when you get a blown engine in, you've got to figure out whether it was oil failure or heat. And the two are inextricably linked. If you actually have oil starvation, you're going to have heat. But if you get the engine overheating first, it will fail just like it had oil starvation. But if you know where you're looking for, it'll fail in a different spot. So generally, an engine that gets very, very hot will fail in the bore. An engine that is oil-starving will fail in the cam or the crank if it's under load. Now, if the Zontis, the crank failed and it wasn't under load, I would look for a very specific problem with the crank, because the camshaft is a lot greedier than the crank. The camshaft requires a lot more oil pressure and clean oil to run. So if it is indeed a crank failure, and it may be a cam failure, if it's a cam failure, it's easy. It's.
What about, normally this happens on older bikes, but there was an example Doug had today. The magnet had blown apart.
Well, that's a heat thing. So let me tell you the R1. Let me tell you the R1 story, what R1s do. And this is what early R1s do.
All right.
And it's entirely preventable. So if you have an early R1, please, please, please follow the instructions A, B, C. You have an R1. It's brand new. It's like a 2006, 2007, just crushingly handsome bike. And because you spent a lot of money on it, you have it serviced diligently and, you know, it needs things and you buy good things for it. Well, time moves on and the battery goes out again. You don't want to drop $150 on a Yuasa, do you? You go down to AutoZone, you get yourself a $70 AutoZone battery. You know, the problem is a $70 AutoZone doesn't have the load capacity of the Yuasa. So now the regulator rectifier is going, oh, I've got a little bit extra. What am I going to do with it? And so the regulator rectifier starts getting a little bit overheated and hot and bothered. And then you think, oh, I'd really like some upgraded headlights with this bike. So now you put some of those super posh, you know, headlights with the little motors on the back. And now the regulator rectifier is going, oh, God, I'm dying. And so the regulator rectifier dies. And then all the current that the alternator is producing stops right there. And the alternator starts getting really, really, really warm. And because it's not a new bike anymore and you don't really want to give it an oil change yet, the oil's very, very thin and the engine temperature is just a little bit higher because of the thin oil and the lack of maintenance. And the alternator, all the magnets, the glue holding the magnets on fail and the magnets fall off. And if you're really unlucky, they fall into the oil pan and gum up the oil lines and your engine blows up because you put a cheap battery in it. Now, I don't think that's the case with the Zontis, but it's a very, very valid case. And 99% of alternator problems are caused by reg-rec problems, which 99% of reg-rec problems are caused by shitty batteries, either cheap auto parts store batteries or just kicking the can down the road. A bike's easy to bump start, right? You can jump it off a car, right? And riding your bike with a dead battery. You know, you're basically giving your reg-rec and your alternator a heart attack by doing that. So take care of your battery, people. It'll pay you back in the end.
But yeah, I just thought magnets and glue were things that are kind of outside of their control, that they're buying from somebody else and bringing in that could be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you take any bike, whether it's a Zontis, whether it's Yamaha, whether it's Suzuki, or indeed a Triumph. The actual core parts that are made by the manufacturer are very, very small. All the lights, the alternator, the electrics, everything gets brought in. Tires, brakes, everything gets brought in. So you become a slave to the outside vendor. That's what's doing Boeing in right now, is because their vendors are a bunch of fuck-ups. Well, and Boeing are too. But it's a vendor problem. Yeah.
All right. So, Bagel.
Yeah.
We have a listener who sent us a few emails. You have two of them.
Yeah.
Let's get through them.
Okay. So the first one is titled Group Riding Redux.
Oh, yeah.
And this is from GP3. And he writes, cheers, Misfits.
Do you think GP3 came from 1 and 2? So, like, his grandpa's GP1, and then there's GP2, and now he's GP3?
Maybe he's got 3 GP victories. He's like GP 3 times. I don't know.
Perhaps he's got 3 Jeeps?
Oh, yeah, you're saying Jeep3. All right.
Okay, very good. Carry on.
Anyway, he says, cheers, Misfits. Listening to episode 599, I found the discussion on group riding interesting.
Mm-hmm.
As an instructor, I've spoken with a great number of groups about group riding safe practices. Many groups engage in dangerous or illegal behavior during rides, often unknowingly. It's best to discuss this with group leadership before things become uncomfortable. This way, perhaps you can make group riding safer via knowledge versus argument. While there's no universal standard for hand signals, both the MSF and AMA provide a solid documented foundation. No organized ride should begin without a safety briefing. In my humble opinion, no briefing, no ride. Hand signals, staggered formation, how to fill gaps, info on the destination address, and meetup time should all be included. If you're going to cross states with different helmet laws, people should know that as well as if there are tolls, etc.
Mm-hmm.
The ride captain's job is to ensure safety, not achieve land speed records. The pace should suit the slowest riders, with communication from the tail/sweep to the captain regarding their status. For large group rides, break the group into smaller subgroups, each with a leader and tail rider. This makes things safer and easier to manage, reduces rider pressure to keep up or not get lost. Riders must ride their own ride, respect safety, and maintain staggered formation for proper following distance, sight lines, and visibility. Riders own their own lane side to side in a group formation, but must ride respecting other riders, ride predictably, not erratically. If someone leaves the formation, the group should move forward to fill the gap, but do not pass within the same lane. It's generally illegal and dangerous.
See, that's what I've always been told, move forward, not diagonally, but most people do the diagonal.
Right, well, it depends on how the gap is spaced, right? So many groups may expect or demand same lane passing to fill the gap, but it's unsafe, illegal, and violates staggered lane autonomy. Know before you go. Blocking intersections is illegal and creates hazards. It also leaves the group liable for accidents, fines, insurance impacts, and litigation.
I still do it because I think it's safer for the group.
There are arguments that are made both directions.
Mm-hmm.
Using smaller groups can reduce the temptation to block intersections.
That's a good point.
Yeah, true. Reduces the need. Illegal behaviors may be tradition for some, but they increase risks with law enforcement, safety, and the public. It's difficult to complain motorcyclists are being targeted while inviting encounters with law enforcement and irritating the non-riding public. This is easy to avoid if people are willing to do so. A well-organized ride is great, but poorly organized and unsafe rides should be avoided. If a group makes you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, consider not riding with them again. If you're thankful you made it out of that ride alive, it's probably a good indication to avoid that group in the future. I mean, unless that's the feeling you're going for. I tried keeping this message short, and hopefully that fact that I didn't mention Jeeps makes that okay. Regards, GP3.
Can I say when at Vintage Days when I was doing one of the test rides, I think it was on the Suzukis. I was the third person in the formation, and they had said, "All right, look, we want to keep everyone tight, and we're out in cornfields. It's Amish country. You know, you take off and." I will say there are times where they will they'll open it up so you can test the bikes out. Well, the leader and number 2 in the right and then me in the left, we all kind of got in a groove, and we were all on bikes powerful enough that number 2 and me, number 3, we stayed in constant formation, no matter how much he sped up or how much he slowed down.
Nice.
And then coming into turns, we stayed very tight, and it became like, I love it when you're riding with somebody who gets it and they can stay consistent. And then it was like almost riding like CHP, how they ride kind of tighter, not necessarily together, but in tight formation. I love that. When you find other people who ride that consistent, that you can just stick in that space no matter the speed you're going.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, that was really cool. All right, well, I have one, speaking of vintage days.
Oh, vintage.
And this is from our friend Ken, who was one of our stunt misfits. Now, Ken did not heed our advice.
Oh, dear.
He did not. And learned his lesson.
Oh, dear, Ken.
Yeah. Ken came out with his wife, Kathy, and his friend, Jimmy. And he says, "Dear Liza, we wanted to reach out and say thank you for your incredible hospitality at AMA Vintage Days." When he's thanking me, I was sharing all the things Phil and his gang brought. I just want to be clear.
Right. Very good.
The food. Oh, and the Nokomoto guys brought an entire tiki bar.
Wow.
It was impressive. He says, when we volunteered to help as stunt misfits, we had no idea how much we would be welcomed into the fold. We really felt like part of the crew, getting to know not just you, but the Cleveland Moto and Nokomoto guys and the Moto Hop, too. Kathy especially enjoyed talking to Wendy Crockett, who was kind enough to relay her to the FEMA camp before zipping back to pick up Jimmy. Me? I got to the camp by riding pillion on Liza Benelli, through the woods, over rocks, water crossings, and standing in the mud to lift the back of the bike over a bothersome log. Yeah. He says, as first-timers at Vintage Days, we really didn't know what to expect, but had a great time. We only wish that we had heeded the advice to bring a small bike. It was just too big an event to get around on foot, and with so many bikes zipping around, men, women, young and old, some kid in a banana costume, you take your life in your own hands trying to cross the street on foot. Thankfully, we found that we could steal Black Cat scooters that Phil had brought and left laying around with the keys in them, because that's the rule. If the keys are in, you can take it. I encourage everyone to check out Vintage Days, but bring a bike or at least be prepared to buy a running piece of junk when you get here. Thank you again. It was really nice to get to know you after listening to you for all these years. Sorry that Emma couldn't make it, but we had the pleasure of meeting her at Dolomites in 2023.
Yes.
Well, this was fun because we met the three of them. They came and met us in the infield. And Wendy and I were there. And I said, well, come on back to the campsite. But it's quite a ways. And there were 2 of us and 3 of them. So I said, all right, I have an idea. Wendy, why don't you take the 2 of them one at a time and you take the fast way up the road? And Ken, I said, are you adventurous? And he says, I sometimes consider myself so. I said, well, hop on. We're taking the long way. And I took him the back way through the woods, which was muddy, wet, as he said, water crossings, mud pits, hill climbs, and some fallen logs that we had to negotiate.
Fantastic.
And it nice. It took her about the same time to get 2 of them there as it did to get him over there. But we had a good time doing it.
Well, good-o.
So, yeah, thanks, Ken. That was a fun time. Emma, do you have one to read?
I do. And introduction to my team and coordinating a visit.
Yeah.
Hi, Misfits, and especially the beautiful Emma, tra-la-la, and wicked cool Stumpy. Really? We'll have to tell him he's wicked cool.
I know why, because this was written by Puppy.
Yeah, I know.
Who went on the Stumpistan.
Yes, and Puppy has been on a Dolomites trip as well. I think I sent an email a few months or maybe a year ago soliciting feedback on hosting people on Bunker Biker. Anyway, we have hosted quite a few people since then, and I always recommend if they're headed out to California to stop by the garage, especially if they will be on the one.
Yeah.
This brings me to introducing Martin. Martin was originally born in Brazil, but also lived in Italy, Venezuela, and most recently in the US in New York. He is traveling by motorcycle after selling most of his things in New York for a sort of motorcycle sabbatical, back to Brazil to visit his family. He's travelling on a KLR 650, which should make Stumpy most pleased, but I also recommend he stop by the garage or at least check it out. Additionally, we were wondering what the schedule for the garage is like. I think I last heard it was Sundays, but I can't remember if that's correct. I may let him make the introductions and accommodations if he wants to be on the podcast, but he has quite a few adventure stories, and they will likely have a few more by the time he gets out there. Anyway, love and miss y'all. Puppy in Denver.
Puppy.
P.S. Feel free to read this on the podcast if you think it's relevant, which indeed it is. And if you need a place to crash in Denver, let me know. I have attached a picture of myself and my team so you can do a show and tell. Well, I'm going to look at it. Oh, that's Puppy. Yes, it is. And Martin, very handsome fellow. He has a beard, you know.
Oh.
Yes, he does. Look.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, Puppy. Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, no, unfortunately, we get quite a few requests to visit the garage, and everybody is most welcome. The garage itself is open on Sunday from 11 until 5 o'clock. And yes, of course, we come in to do the podcast after that. Now, if that does not fit in with your schedule, you can reach out to the garage, and I may be able to host you at Moto Town. Which indeed I have for listeners in the past. And we always have a groovy time because we'll pig out on lunch and then go for a ride down Highway 1 or something. So reach out if you find yourself in California and you want the Motorcycles and Misfits /Liza /Miss Emma /Bagler experience, if indeed you're in Oregon, just reach out, darlings. We're kind souls. We host you.
Oh, yes. And we make you take free gear.
Yeah.
Got rid of some today. In fact, Cam, who came by with...
Yes, with his dog.
With his dog.
Yeah, his dog upset the cat.
He's a traveler, but he's been staying here.
Yeah.
He's been on the show before. But his helmet and gloves were stolen off the bike.
Oh, no.
And he came here and he was having trouble finding a good helmet that fit him. And I just got a new helmet. So I always keep two helmets on my shelf, the new one and kind of the one I just throw on when I'm running to the store.
And I specifically said, Cam, you may not take anything from that shelf.
Thank you. Well, since I have a new one, I had 3 helmets on there. So I took the oldest one, which, it's an older helmet, but it still is pretty clean and decent and all functioning, and gave it to him, and he was happy.
Oh, fantastic.
Cool. Bagel, you have another one there?
I do. This is another one from GP3.
Yep.
He says, "Hello, Misfits. I've had a number of bikes over the years." Oh, by the way, this is titled V-Stroms and Misfits.
Ooh.
He says, "I've had a number of bikes over the years, riding for 50 years now. Yikes, but 0 Jeeps."
Hey, he mentioned the Jeeps again.
A few years ago, I went from leader bikes to smaller displacement, including a Versa 650, V-Strom 650, etc. In my humble opinion, 800 cc's is perfect for me, but not always so easy to find. On podcast 635, you were talking about the V-Strom 800 DE. While I love the 650's character and fun factor, the 800? Whoa.
Yeah, I would agree. It was all the juice you need. All of it.
He says, that's a great engine with a ton of punch for days. I'm bigger than the average bear, so that fits the bill nicely. Performance, ergonomics, etc. So out with the 650, in with the 800 DE, which is more than just an ADV-styled bike.
Exactly.
Excuse me. You also mentioned the DRZ 400 SM on the same show. Coincidentally, I just sold my SV650 and replaced it with a DRZ 400 SM. Why? Carbureted? Could care less on this bike. There's only one carb. Cost? Super low cost to acquire, maintain, and upgrade. I do everything myself. Comfort? Ergonomics are better for me and are adjustable without cramp or clearance issues. Wrench fun. That is a fun bike to tweak with a ton of options, including improving the electronics. Track days. I can work on technique without fail and have a great time doing it. Smile factor. The DRZ is just a balls-out fun bike to ride for pleasure or for teaching.
So I was going to say, at Vintage Days, my friend Luke was there. And Luke kind of leapt through the bikes up to a giant BMW touring bike and kind of missed out on riding small bikes. And he's not a big guy. He's kind of a small guy. So for the test rides, I'm like, you need to try small bikes. They're fun. I put him on the R3. Hated it. Put him on the DRZ SM. Loved it. Loved it. So yeah, great bike.
Did you tell him, I am your father, Luke? By any chance?
No, plenty of other people did, though.
Oh, very good.
So GP3 continues. It says, is a DR Z4 SM in my future? Nope. I do like a more upright riding style, and both the DRZ and DE fit the bill. Having grown up on dirt bikes, then street bikes, Ninjas, etc., and then to cruiser/Harley, now I've found a great blend in ADV-type bikes. BMW R1200 GSA Forever Bike, Zuki V-Strom 800DE, and DR 400 SM, okay, the last is an ADV, but a modified dirt bike, are the current lineup.
Cool.
Will this change? At this point, likely not, although my very understanding wife, who can no longer ride with me, is very clear where the D+1 floating point limit is. Although I have 7 bikes in a one-car garage, along with a full motorcycle lift, compressor, tools, etc., so limit is more a suggestion than a rule. Warm regards, GP3.
Nice. Well, rounding it out, I too have an email from GP3. I think he's just been going through our catalog and just listening to everything, which is fun. And he says, hello, Misfits. Apologies in advance for the multiple emails this month.
I'm going to stick it out there. I think GP3 is newly retired.
Maybe. He says, but I had a few things on my mind. You had discussed making an inherited bike your own in an episode a while back. I think this was talking about Stumpy's dad's bike. Do you leave it the same or make it your own? He says, well, in my opinion, one of the things people miss is making a bike theirs. While many will say ride your own ride, how many are referring to a ride that is fit to you versus the pace and risk tolerance you have following others? Almost no one. Riding is you and your bike, super individualistic, a synergy of rider and machine. So why do so many ride someone else's ride? Even something as simple as where the bars meet the hands to provide a bend in the elbow is something people don't consider. I see many riders attend our classes on a bike that clearly does not fit them and one which they struggle to ride well because of it. Ergonomic adjustments can make the bike more efficient, fit better, improving comfort and concentration, requiring less physical energy and input. Ergonomic adjustments can also alter a bike's design, which can move from the ergonomic into the realm of handling, etc., increasing risk. Would it be possible for you to invite Dave Moss on the podcast and interview him? Dave is a fantastic resource who can make riding so much easier, safer, and more enjoyable while keeping it absolutely approachable. I don't know who Dave Moss is. I'll have to look into him.
I can tell you this, that a Rolling Stone gathers no Dave Moss.
He says, I'd also like to ask if you can invite Paul Theed from Race Tech and or Lee Parks from Total Control on to talk suspension. It's interesting because I just had a conversation with Lee Parks at Moto America. Sat talking quite a long time. And I talked to him about coming on our show sometime, but I wasn't talking about suspension. So I find that interesting. Lee is super engaging, as is Paul. They both teach all the time and are uber passionate about suspension, can make it easy to understand and relatable. Getting ergonomics dialed in, even discovering perhaps a certain bike isn't for you, as well as suspension, doesn't have to break the bank. Getting them right can transform a ride, as well as keep it safe, benefiting all riders. And I'm going to throw in one more thing on that. I'm always surprised how often people don't do something as simple as adjusting the controls.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Bagel, every time I get to Pakistan and we get thrown on one of those bikes, first thing I do is ask for a wrench to turn those controls just to get the levers where I like them. Not to mention the amount of times I just hop on someone else's bike to ride and realize how poorly adjusted that clutch is.
It makes it very, very easy for me as a mechanic.
People don't realize that they can adjust that clutch lever.
Right. And it makes it so easy for me because I'll get a bike come in and you just riding it into the workshop. Jesus Christ, this thing rides like a sack of shit because of the throttle's badly adjusted and the clutch is badly adjusted and the chain's hanging on the swing arm. And so you do it all. And people ride with, oh my God, this is like a brand new bike. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's like, okay, well, it's all part of the service. Yeah.
But yeah, if people get, pullback risers or different bars, sometimes just adjusting the controls to get the lever, it changes your arm position completely.
A lot of the newer riders who come down, I'll often set the bikes up for them and say, look, can I set this up for you? And I think you'll have a far better experience with a bike. And I'm always looking for that little crook in their elbow.
Exactly.
So their arms aren't locked or it's just like, and you get them adjusted well and you can see the light bulb comes on. They're like, I can actually, move around on this thing. Yeah. But suspension's everything. And 90% of bikes that are sold brand new have severely compromised suspension because they're built to a cost. And where the hell else you're going to
I even remember
money.
When I was test riding, I think it was a KTM, I forget, one of the test rides I've done recently, and I got on the bike and the two levers were not lined up. One was high and one was low on a test ride. I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah, and and people are out there riding and no one's thinking to adjust it. That drove me nuts.
But the thing is with me and Rufus, because a lot of people don't understand my relationship with Rufus.
How metrosexual you are?
Well, it's actually goes beyond that.
I'm just curious, is Rufus a top or a bottom?
It's a symbiotic relationship.
It is a very symbiotic, and he's the top. But even though the riding position would appear to be quite uncomfortable, God, that bike fits me so well. It's just a perfect sized bike for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, we got room for one more.
You think you got room for one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, all right. And this is from Joel. And he goes, "Hi, Misfits. I have little to no experience as a mechanic.
Okay.
I had torn a lawnmower apart in 9th grade shop class, but I don't think it ever ran correctly after I fixed it. Oh, dear. I decided upon retirement to install a 300cc big bore kit in my 2009 KLX 250S.
Okay.
The bike was running great. Oh, no. I just wanted to see if I could do it. I sent you a note last summer after I got it together. I was feeling pretty good about learning how to work on a 4-stroke engine. As it turns out, my excitement was a bit premature. The bike ran great, but I discovered it was burning oil. I tore it back down and found I'd installed it with a ring end between the piston and the cylinder. Oh, no! It gouged a replica of the Grand Canyon in the cylinder wall, hence the burning oil. You got to watch those piston rings, Joel. I bought a new kit and installed it over the winter. Bike ran great for about 150 miles before it went pop and stopped running. While waiting for the tow truck, I diagnosed a broken cam chain. When I took it apart, I discovered the busted chain had taken the valves with it. No!
Ew.
It appears I'd over-tightened the manual cam chain tensioner and the chain broke. So now the tuition for this learning experience was getting steeper. New cam chain, new valves, and new valve shims as needed. I watched YouTube videos to figure out how to pull valve springs and valves and how to lap the new valves. This was after taking the right side covers off and installing a new cam chain. The bike is back together and has about 10 miles of break-in riding on it. So far, so good. Shout out to the Recycle Garage for the inspiration to try new things and the folks that followed my thread on ADV Rider for the encouragement and advice. At least it runs better than the poor lawnmower ever did." And that's from Joel. And you know what? That really is a very, very inspiring email for a number of reasons. Because ostensibly you think, oh, yeah, what a bonehead. He stripped the engine down, blew up, stripped the engine down, blew up. but he's trying, and that's the important thing.
Exactly what I was going to say.
And you learn from your mistakes.
You learn from your mistakes.
They can be expensive, but you can still learn from them.
Have I ever misadjusted, trapped a piston ring when I was fitting a bore? Yep. Have I ever over-tightened a cam chain? Yep.
But I was going to say, there's so many things that he learned in the process. Even with that lawnmower that didn't work, there are things that he learned. And a lot of them are tools or tricks.
Right.
And they all add up.
Get stuck in. It's the sacred power of yes.
Yeah.
Say yes to everything.
There you go.
Tra-la-la.
That's it. That brings us to the end.
Well,
we got through them all.
Yes, I think I need to go home. I'm yearning a cup of tea.
We need more emails. Even GP3.
Right.
I love it. Send them to us, motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. And you can go to our website, motorcyclesandmisfits.com. I still have shirts for sale, though. I am running out of sizes. Sold that 3XL. It's gone. So if you don't see your size available, there just aren't any. I think we're down to medium, large, extra large. Oh, no, large, extra large, 2X. Anyway.
Now
they come and go, but you know what? There were a lot of people wearing the shirts at Vintage Days. Nice. And I have to say, this new design looks really good. The black shirt with the red and kind of cream white. And there were, even I noticed people wearing them. I'm like, that's a good looking shirt.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I like that.
Go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. You'll find links to all sorts of stuff there. And let us know how you were doing.
And as a
and you know why that logo is cool, Liza?
Why?
Because it's retro.
Yeah.
Oh, and and it evokes a nostalgic wave. So
Indeed.
before we go,
it was actually vintage.
Yes. Before we go, I'd like to talk about dear old Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes,
who shuffled off his mortal coil. Yes, Sharon. Now, Ozzy, of course, as being a very, very sound bloke, was a true brummie.
Yes,
which
he
means
was
born in Birmingham. And of course, now he has shuffled off his mortal coil. Potentially, I might be the most famous brummie alive. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, my.
I say.
Wow.
No, I couldn't even come close to that mantle. But, dear Ozzy, I mean, there's so little integrity in the modern world. And for all of these so-called satanic shows he put on over the years and all the hate that was directed to him by mums and dads, he had to put on that last show.
Where's Lemmy from?
Oh, Lemmy's Londoner. Lemmy Kilminster. Yeah. No,
right.
Yeah.
All right, you're still the most famous.
But did you know that Ozzy, back in his youth, was once a mod?
Oh, yeah. A lot were.
Yes, he was a mod because that was how you got into all the great house parties that back in the day.
Yes,
we didn't even bring up mods. Oh my gosh, so much.
So well, I did a show on the Mods and Rockers at some stage.
I know.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Mod is
the
retro?
Rockers did. Well, the mod was modern.
Modern retro. Anyway,
thank you very much for listening, and especially to our Patreon subscribers. We got a new subscriber. Very nice. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the show. Send us your emails.
Yes.
We gotta go. Thank you. This is Liza.
It's Emma, darling.
Bagel.
And we are out of here.
Cool.